Today, we're dedicating the entire video to one man, the player who just won our Red and Blue Player of the Month survey in a landslide, the guy who recently dropped a Champions League hat-trick and the heartbeat of Luis Enrique's system, Vitinha. He's not the flashiest, he's not the noisiest, but right now he might genuinely be the best midfielder in the world. So today, we dive deep. His evolution, his role, why he's reaching new heights this season, how he compares to other top midfielders like Pedri or Declan Rice, and what makes him absolutely indispensable to this PSG. Let's get into it. So, Vitinha Player of the Month, I did a survey a few days ago, both on YouTube and on Twitter, so follow me everywhere, the things is at the bottom, asking who you thought was the best PSG players last month, and Vitinha actually won nearly, I think, more than 2/3 of the votes, so it was a very, very clear answer. Of course, I think there's a bit of recency bias coming out of the Tottenham game, but you can't contest that Vitinha has been absolutely stratospheric this month, turning in amazing performance after amazing performance. And interestingly, even Le Parisien did a ranking, and for them too, Vitinha came out on top. And they looked at the match-by-match rankings that they give to the players. Vitinha's average for the month is 7.13 out of 10, when second place Warren Zaire-Emery is 6.63. So he's clear by 0.5 on average across all games. He's played 6 games in the month, scored 3 goals and made 2 assists, and turned in, amazing performances against Nice, against Lyon, and mostly against Tottenham. And yeah, he's really overall this season, and even more in November, really reaching very, very, very impressive levels. And the stats really show it. And it's interesting when you talk about Vitinha as well, because obviously he's a player who didn't always play at such a high level and didn't always impress as much as he's impressing right now. He came to PSG on his tiptoes, if you remember. His first season was difficult for him. He didn't get along with the Messis and the stars of the dressing room, who were accusing him of not being good enough. Just really saying something now. And so, he went from that first season in there, but not really contributing as much, not really making much of an impression, and really staying in the corner of the dressing room, to his second season with Luis Enrique coming on board, really starting to make an impact, progressively finding the best way to use him as a player, but also the best sets of players and skill sets to put around him. And I remember the first few games where he was repositioned into this number 6 position. My, what a difference did it make? Before that, he was actually playing on the upper left of the midfield, trying to compensate for Mbappe, not really doing much defensive work, and him compensating a lot, trying to contribute to the attack and to the build-up and so on. And yeah, once he got brought down a notch, he became the orchestra conductor, and yes, the heartbeat of this PSG and Luis Enrique system. And I think throughout last season, with the addition of João Neves to the midfield, with Fabian Ruiz really kicking up a notch and finding his best level in PSG, we found this trio in midfield that really can dominate any game and can create anywhere. And Vitinha is really at the core of that. And I think, when you look at him this season, this is definitely what we're seeing from him. We're seeing him be, in general, obviously, every game has a different truth, but in general, being very safe technically. He doesn't lose the ball. He's got, I think, 95%+ of successful passes. He's completely resistant to the press. You cannot get the ball out of him. And he's got like such creativity and dynamism. Love like the carries that he makes, the runs that he makes forward with the ball, even like the runs that he makes across and then carves into running forward. I always enjoy that a lot. Vertical passing as well is up there. And in general, his ability to see and also to speed up the game is really like a visionary from down deep in the midfield. And now we're seeing something new that he's adding to his game. I mean, not new because it's always been there. And if you remember our quarterfinal against Barcelona in the Champions League 2 seasons ago, we know that he's got some shooting skills. But yeah, against Tottenham, 2 missiles that he sends, one with his right foot, one is with his left foot. So he can really do it all from a distance, either foot. And yeah, clear scoring threat between him and Joao Neves. It's funny, but like we've got a midfield that's clearly better at scoring than our attackers right now. So it's super impressive. And ultimately, like, I think the beauty of Vitinha is that it's really like a player that's completely representative of this new PSG under Luis Enrique, in the sense that he's a genius of the game. He's a genius of the game, but he's not a superstar brand. He's a football player and a footballer above everything. And it's funny because I think, when you get into his position in world football, I think that's really what feeds the debate. And it's really, really interesting to me. So let's get into it, actually, because it's something that comes back very, very regularly. And I know fans from every team, everyone likes to think that they've got the best midfielder in the world. And truth is, like, there are some amazing midfielders right now. Barcelona fans love to say it's Pedri. I've seen Arsenal fan coming out of the game against Bayern saying it's Declan Rice. Chelsea fans will say it's Caicedo. I think all of them have some legitimate points to make and some arguments. Ultimately, Vitinha is the one who finished third of the Ballon d'Or last season. He's the one who Thomas Frank, the coach of Tottenham, say he's going to be the next winner of the Ballon d'Or. And he's definitely got the skill set to go all the way to the top. And I think, if you compare with other midfielders, I'm not going to get into data points because you can pick and choose whatever data to make your point and so on. But I think realistically, and with a massive amount of respect for other players, Pedri is such a strong player when it comes to controlling the rhythm and the pace of a game, having the vision, but also the intelligence to really manage that tempo. But at the same time, I think physically and in terms of ball carrying is not as strong as Vitinha. And so you end up in a place where, for me, I think Pedri is a superstar as well. And it's a player that I would absolutely love to have on the team. But Vitinha is maybe a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more vertical. On the other end, a player like Declan Rice of Arsenal also has some incredible skill sets. And I think when you look at him, mostly in terms of the physicality that he brings to the game and the amount of duels that he can fight in a game, also in terms of interceptions and leadership. But I don't think he contributes as much when you get to the final third. And I think his decision-making and probably his vision is, half a foot under what Vitinha is at. And so sure, he's an absolutely dominant ball winner in box-to-box. And defensively, he's absolute superstar of a player. But Vitinha is still above when you rank it technically and creatively. And I think ultimately, the story with Caicedo of Chelsea is very, very similar to that one. I think Declan Rice and Caicedo are probably neck and neck right now in terms of best midfielder in the Premier League. But both of them have relatively similar skill sets and attributes. And then you get to Vitinha, who's, now he's got the creativity, the carries, the link play. He can do two-footed finishing. He's also very strong at actually the tactical elements of the game. I'm always impressed by how much he compensates for other players, He's the one who will drop to Nuno Mendes' spot if Nuno Mendes runs forward. He will drop between the two defenders to offer passing lines to his keeper. He will like make those runs. He will also intercept passes. Defensively, like he's not the strongest physically, but he does contribute a lot. So he really has this full array of skills that a modern midfielder can have. It's really pretty amazing to see, and I don't think right now, I don't think there's a midfielder who's got such a wide array of skills. I think you can find player who on one or two attributes can be better than Vitinha. But if you look at the full set, Vitinha comes up on top. And he still have weaknesses as well. I think like we've seen it actually in one of his lesser games, this month, which was against Bayern Munich. Which is like if you really like hunt him down and bully him a little bit physically, he's still susceptible to that. And I think he still loses a little bit of influence. I think he's got enough stamina and physicality that he tends to get over it as the match goes on. But we've seen it a few times of teams who are applying very, very high press and very intensive press from the start of the game. There's still some dangers there. And so, you know, in the end, and like going back to the comparison with other midfielder, I think like, you know, if you want maybe like the best defensive midfielder, maybe go for Declan Rice or for Moses Caicedo. If you want the best, maybe like, you know, tempo controller of the game, Pedri is maybe a little bit better. I think the two are like very, very much neck and neck. But if you want the best all-around creative engine right now, there's no doubt in my mind that's Vitinha. And, you know, Luis Enrique knows that and sees that and absolutely loves him for it. And I think, you know, every PSG fan out there and every football fan out there actually sees the same. It's funny because like I tweeted that after the Tottenham game, and I felt it's very true that, you know, Arsenal fans will tell you the best midfielder in the world is Declan Rice. Barcelona fan will tell you the best midfielder in the world is Pedri, but football fans will tell you the best midfielder in the world is Vitinha. And it's really, really something that I feel pretty deeply about, and I think like, you know, most PSG fans will agree to it. So what's next for Vitinha? I mean, let's hope he keeps going at the current pace, and that like in the next few games in December, which are going to be quite crucial in terms of like we've got a trophy to win, we're starting in the cup, we've got a Champions League game, so like there's a lot of things to do in December before getting some holiday. Let's hope that he can continue delivering in line with what he's done in November. And, you know, like looking at next year, like let's hope that he remains that central engine of our midfield. I do hope that he gets a little bit of rest over the holidays because he's been playing non-stop and he hasn't been injured this season. So he really hasn't had a break. And I wish we could give him one so he can build up his stamina and build up his energy and come back even stronger next year. We'll see. Hopefully that's possible, and hopefully that's something that will happen. Anyway, this is what I had on Vitinha. Let me know in the comment what you think of it. What was like that marking moment of Vitinha in PSG, and what did you think of his last performances? How do you think he fits into that whole like best midfielder in the world debate? And as always, if you made it this far into the video, please drop a like on it. It really helps with YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and hit the bell to get notified of future videos. And as always, ici c'est pareil!